Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and do well, and salutations to the prophets and beloved brothers continue to exhort the sheep in these last days, and a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect listening in, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, shalom, shalom. This epistle is going to be entitled Working on Our Conductivity. Working on our conductivity. Putting on those righteous garments, given the grace and the opportunity to serve our power, Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, in these end times, as he has awakened us to the truth of the gospel and to the deep mysteries and parables provided by our priests and prophets and hopeful elect. This is maybe an urgent call for all of us to reflect on our conductivity and don't be so complacent in what office you think you may hold and whatever power you may be. These are not my thoughts, really. It wasn't not, but I feel as though this may be an urgent call for all of us to now self-evaluate in this quarter, if you will, our conductivity and our speech, as we are all in this house here, receiving wisdom, manifold wisdom from each other. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that the Most High Yahweh has done for us, and waking us up, separating us from all the dead works of the world, and has given us an opportunity to serve him with fear and reverence. Right? Be mindful that we are representing, and who we represent as ambassadors of the almighty power himself, the king and creator of all things. Right? So let us not be moved out of that lot in which we are trying to fulfill, and having that Ruach HaKodash be taken from us, because that's a fearful thing. You know, just take a moment of pause and think that tomorrow morning you could wake up and not have any remembrance of all the things, all the good works that you have put into, because you have now been called up to the throne room and have been discarded as an unfruitful servant of the Most High Yahweh, our power. This is a very fearful thing, right? To be cast back out into the darkness. So let's go into Ephesians chapter 2 and start from there. And I want to say, for my own 2 cents, the reason that this probably needs to come out is because there's some epistles, some lessons that are coming out that are revealing the heart and intention of that priest or prophet or that hopeful elect, that may not be so necessary to publish out in the open forum. Be mindful of your speech and how you conduct yourself, because these will ultimately be a testimony against you and or for you. Be mindful of those things, right? So bridle your thoughts before releasing a word. And this is a sincere message out of love, not out of condemnation, but as one of the beloved brothers out of the New York camp, Amawan Gabar, he said, you know, to rebuke with a sharp rebuke. And if the shoe fits, it fits. You know, receiving orders to bring out some of the things that we have seen, you know, and there's no really way to access the individuals on the other side of the screen without posting something in the comment box. And in that situation, everyone gets to see it. So I don't know if there's a way to communicate a message, but this is the best way, I believe, you know, without any names or anything. But anyway, let's go into Ephesians chapter 2 and read from the top. It says, and you have he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins. Right from the jump, he hasn't quickened and wakened everyone up to having access to this. Years and years and years, these people out there in the world have been had access to a book, but never been able to really access the truth of the scriptures, and have a more intimate relation with the Most High, our power Yahweh, right? And not everyone has access to be a hopeful elect in the hopes of one day wearing maybe one of those beautiful ephods, right? That should make your heart flutter a little bit. What does that thing feel like? How heavy is it? How shiny is it? You know? To be standing in the company of very strong, austere, and wise men. Reflect on those things before you release vomit out into the atmosphere. Self-examine your behavior. Work on our conductivity. And you had he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, right? In times past, we were in that Gentile mind state of the one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Whoever we are and whatever lot we fulfill, whatever, we were deep in trespasses and sins, right? Wherein in times past you walked according to the course of this world. In times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of this disobedience. These people that still are stuck in the matrix and in the framework of liberty and freedom, he has pulled us out of, right? Woken us up, unplugged us from the matrix, if you will, and now have shown us a different path that we should walk and now represent, right? Wherein in times past you walked according to the course of this world, you know, the framework of this current age, according to the prince of power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of the flesh. Oh, we had all these aspiring dreams to become this and that, and business owners, and own land and build houses and raise families in, and whatever, basketball dreams, a hip hop star, all these things, right? These were the conversations that we had in our lust of the flesh in former times, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind. Everything we woke up and thought of, we went and pursued it, right? We're going to go chase tail. We're going to go hit that bottle. We're going to roll a fat one, and so on and so forth. These were some of the things that we did according to our past lives, and even in our speech, right? As we are becoming grown men in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, there's a certain level of growth that needs to transpire. Put on nobility, the mindset of a king, the mindset of someone in rulership and in power, exercising long-suffering, mercy. Think of King David. Think of Yahushua, how these men interacted with people on a day-to-day basis, even in the close comfort of your kinsfolk, your bones. Be mindful on how you interact with them. One day they can flip on you and turn into hyenas. Or they could be, you know, people that you can build with. Ultimately, reflect on your conductivity, because no man is saved from anything as of yet. Continuing on in verse 3 of Ephesians chapter 2, it says, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past, in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. You know, at one time we were 2/3. We were 2/3. And we can still fulfill the lot of a 2/3. Yeah, we can still fulfill the lot of the 2/3. Many are called, few are chosen, right? This is an urgent call to my Akyam out there to reflect on your conductivity, your speech, the way you carry yourself, and the way you move. This is important, very important. There's always a sifting process going on. One falls out, another one comes in. That level of wisdom that this one has accumulated, it gets dispersed amongst those that are still pushing the plow. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 4. But the Most High Yahweh, our power, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us. He doesn't love everybody, despite how people may feel about that. This is a in-house issue. This is not a world issue for everyone to now come to the understanding of. But this letter that is written in this envelope was written to a particular family, and everyone seems to take part of it and include themselves, and we know the difference, right? Even when we were dead in sins, hath he quickened us together with Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. By grace are you saved, right? Because that promise was made aforetime, that in the end time he was going to wake up the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the lands of their captivity, the scattered, dispersed. And we're going to take the form and the color of all these, generations of being mixed and mingled. This is what our forefathers has done aforetime, because in the lands of their captivity, they, went and did things contrary to what we were supposed to be doing. Even hath we were dead in sins, has he quickened us together with Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. By grace are you saved, and has raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Isn't this awesome? We get to, sometimes be in the comfort of our own homes and get to communicate with our Akim out there that may be in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. We don't have to go and travel and get on planes and all these other things, whatever. We get to sit and commute with each other here and get to know each other intimately, because the love that we have and the fear that we have for our Father Yahweh, we get to partake in this assembly. And if we're not mindful on how we are being conductful with each other and others, that we can get kicked out the ministry. We start taking off these garments and start putting on t-shirt fringes and backwards caps. Verse 6, and hath raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace and his kindness towards us through Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Through the dispensation of times, prophecy and all things are revealed, right? And in time, and in the future, Abaratazah, our seed lines will look back and witness the exceedingly riches and mercies of our Father and what he had bestowed upon us, for them to say how blessed are we to be living and breathing in this day, as to where there were so many at that time that did not come to the acknowledgement of salvation, right? Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8, for by grace are ye saved through faith. So there's a step-by-step process in order to receive salvation. And it starts with your belief, your fear and reverence of the Most High Yahweh, our power, and exercising every minutia of what was written. Not one jot, one tittle, and no likewise is going to pass from your directive, if you will. Everything is profitable to that priest, to that apostle. Everything has to be exercised with wisdom. To hold the office of a priest, if that's not your chief desire, this is the wrong race for you to run. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift. It is a gift of the Most High Yahweh, our power. Some of us that are still working on ourselves, and we can see through each other's epistle how we're growing monumentally. Kudos to a lot of you brothers. Eating really good over here with all the works that you guys have been putting up. And there may be some that are lagging a little bit behind, and hence there needs to be some pep talks talked about, because some cracks in the foundation are being exposed, you know. So be mindful of your words and your speech and the things that you put out in the airwaves, because collectively they can be used against the ministry. I know there's a verse for that, but right now it seems to escape me. Let's go into Ephesians chapter 4. Again, this is a message out of pure, sincere love, and not anyone better than he. And I don't want nobody to be able to come into the gates. You know what I mean? Ephesians chapter 4 and 21. It says, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Hamashiach Yahushai, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. You're putting on that new heart, that new wisdom. Exercise wisdom in a manner where it's profitable unto you and towards others. You know, by your conduct, you can gain a brother. And by your conduct, you can definitely lose your brother. And not one of us are sitting in the seat of power and authority as of yet. So that should cause you to meet yourself and humble yourself. Speaking to myself and foremost. And for the hopeful elect, whoever he has ordained to receive salvation, I want you to make it. I really want you to make it, because the generations to come rely on you. Ephesians 4 and verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. Wherefore, putting away lying, speaking every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be mindful of that. You know, be mindful that you are part of a body in Hamashiach, not a part of a body of anything else out there and out in the world. This is something very serious and very top of the shelf, if you will. It takes precedence over everything in the world. Everything in the world. This rebuilding of this ministry under the order of under the Melchizedek priesthood, being head up by Hamashiach Yahushai, establishing the house of David, is of the utmost importance. Through that structure, salvation and blessings come to the entire earth. The animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the air kingdom. All these kingdoms get to have a new life, as well as starting from the priests on down. That you put off the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which after the Most High, Yahweh, Yahushai, is created in righteousness and true holiness. Wherefore, putting away lying, speaking every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil. Now, when you fall short, when you do not grow, you are leaving the gate open of the ministry and of yourself. You're allowing the enemy to have access in some way, form, of another. Be mindful of your speech. Be mindful of your conductivity. Be mindful of those around you. Bridle your tongue. Chastise your flesh. Repent, rebuke, fast. Study. Right? We're going to go to Colossians. I love the book of Colossians. Colossians 3. Verse 5 on down. Colossians 3, starting from verse 5. It says, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. Fornication. Fornication is sex without marriage, or spiritual fornication. If there's things that you still reverence as some form of salvation, if you will. I don't know. I'm just speculating, really. Uncleanness. Uncleanness is ritual impurity. If you don't know what ritual impurity is, you can always make reference to Leviticus. Ritual impurity. Oops. Here we go. Laws of purity. Leviticus chapter 11 and 15. And throughout the scriptures, it teaches you ritual impurity. You know, that's taking your thoughts captives and be mindful of your conductivity and what you're doing, right? Where we at? Colossians 3 and 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection. Inordinate affection is ungodly desires. I don't have any examples for that. You can think of it yourself. Inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, that's lust, selfish desires, and covetousness. Covetousness, which is idolatry. Covetousness is an excessive, inordinate desire for things that belong to someone, accompanied by greed and a lack of contentment. Got you. For which things sake the wrath of the Most High Yahweh our power, and cometh on the children of disobedience. These are the behaviors and the conductivity of the children of disobedience, the children of wrath, those that are still in darkness, not the children of light. Right? So we need to be circumspect and be mindful of everything, right? Be not ignorant of a little or a large matter, but totally lock it down. Lock it down and do some introspection in what's going on in your mind and in your life. And start to step it up a notch, level up. Because as we continue in this race and enduring, we want to continue to speed things up and sprint. We want to book it in the spirit with wisdom, knowledge. We want to push hard, because the stragglers behind us will eventually hold everyone back. And it's not to say that we not tarry for one another. Sure, we tarry for one another, but things are going to start to be revealed. We're going to see there's really no growth, and this brother here is just continuously, and no matter how many times we exhort and bring it to his attention, it just seems to just, not take hold of what's going on. Be mindful. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 6. For which things sake the wrath of the Most High Yahweh our power cometh on the children of disobedience, in the which we also walked some time when ye lived in them. But now we also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds. Right? Put on good, profitable works. Right? Do a little more each and every day. A little more, exercise wisdom, because you're trying to build up the ministry and not bring accusation or blame to the ministry. Verse 10. And have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. Right? We're going to grab verse 12 and close it out. Colossians 3 and verse 12. Put on, therefore, as the elect of the Most High. As the elect. Put on as the elect. Putting on those righteous garments. Fulfilling your lot. Right? Bringing forth more fruit. More fruit. And we do have first fruits coming up. May 28th. May 28th we have. Put on, therefore, as the elect of the Most High Yahweh our power, holy, that means set apart, and beloved, bowels of mercy, Some of us really need to exercise that more and more. You know, it has to reflect, because you want to be numbered. This is about being numbered amongst the righteous. Remember that. Bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, Salakia, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye. Remember, these are instructions. These things have to be exercised abundantly. You know, they have to be touched down continuously, you know, back to the basics type. Colossians 3:14, and above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. What can I do for you today? What can I do for these brothers today? How can you use me, Abanawi Yahweh, and put forth some edification for others? Use me, send me. That type of spirit, right? So I pray that this was edifying to the elect, and Tawada Abanawi Yahweh for another opportunity to use me as your pleasure, Father, and put forth some edification for the hopeful elect. With that, shalom, shalom.